understand. I I don't get it. I really don't get it. That she's I don't want to say it out loud because it's just mean. Uh, but I was really hoping she would be able to go next week on our trip, and her mom said no, and it's just kind of frustrating because I love this kid. She's so sweet, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's a whole thing. Hey, Omni. I'm annoyed by other children's parents. We'll put it that way. It just that it bothers me. Like, because you want your kid to do housework, you can't let your kid leave the house. And I don't mean like normal chores. I mean like other extra chores. I don't know. I don't want to. I don't know. I'm frustrated because I really want this kid to be able to do stuff because she's a really sweet kid. She's got a really cute, sweet heart, and I don't know. I should not be drinking this. Oh well. Tastes good. Oh, we are going to work on our next chapter tonight, y'all. I don't know. Is there a bonus chapter tonight? Let me look. Let's see. Do we have a bonus chapter tonight? Yes, there is a bonus chapter tonight. A salon cap? What's a salon cap? Like for dyeing hair and stuff? No. I love the mom too. Like, I love her to pieces. Like, I love the whole family. Like, it's, but I often feel like I feel so much for this kid because I recognize a lot in her and the way her home life is and the way that my home life was when I was the same age. Because she's an age gap sibling, so she's at home alone, and all of her siblings are grown adults, like I was, and her parents work a lot, and so she seems to be often very lonely because she doesn't have anybody at home with her. And I remember how that feels. I remember how lonely it was, and my heart goes out to this kid because like this kid is basically it's a more extreme version of a latchkey kid, I feel. Hey, mindless. Yeah. Like when I tell people like I have trauma from my childhood, it's not at the hands of my parents, it's more at the hands of my peers, but the big one is like I was a latchkey kid to an extreme. Like my parents would make sure I got to school, but like when I got home, I was by myself most nights. And my mom's like, no, it wasn't that bad. I'd be like, from the time I was in 5th grade till I was a junior in high school, my mother would leave on Sunday afternoons and return home on Friday nights. She would spend all day on Saturday at home. Sometimes we'd go out and do stuff for prom or something like that, but often my mom was trying to do laundry and like get prepared for the week, her next week at work. And then Sunday afternoon, she'd leave again. And she did that for years, like all the time. My mom's like, oh, no. Remember, I made barbecue for your swim meets. Yeah, she'd make barbecue on Saturday, freeze it, and then I would take it out of the freezer and put it in the crock pot, or my dad would on Tuesdays and Thursdays when I had swim meets. It's like I love my mom. I know she worked very hard, and I got to be privileged from that. But at the same time, like I was alone. Like she wants to. My mom and my dad are like, no, you weren't alone. I was alone. I was alone a lot. I I just that's the way it was. And I'm not angry about it, but like yeah. You just fried some chicken for next week. Ooh, that sounds yummy. So, anyway, but this kid, my heart goes out to her because like she is like me. Like I see a lot of what it was like growing up as well. Cause sorry, my ear is gonna drive me nuts tonight. I took a shower, so already my ears are wet, but I had a patch of psoriasis inside my ear and I scratched it and now my ear is inflamed. And it's super itchy. Hate this. Mm-hmm. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. So, are we ready to read? We are on our next chapter. And I have to hurry up because I took my sleepy time medicine. So, I took it after my shower thinking it would take a lot longer to start working on me, and I am already starting to feel the effects of sleepy medicines. So, not just sleepy, just very relaxed. it it's not sleep medicine, it's anti-anxiety medicine that chills me out cuz I'm in a state of panic for the trip next week that I'm in charge of. So, yeah, I'm starting to like freak out about it, and so I took my medicine thinking it would take a lot longer to take effect, and it is taking effect now. So we'll see if I can continue to read. I won't fall asleep, but I might forget what I'm doing while I'm doing this. Chapter 15. Now, if you remember yesterday, just a side note, mindless, catching you up, Padme and her handmaidens, as teenage girls do, snuck out of the palace to go to a rock concert. That's the TLDR, which is in and of itself super adorable. The glitter. Oh, and while she was there, she got covered in this like special glitter. That, yeah. Anyway, the glitter did not come off. Yane tried everything she could to think of to wash Padme's hands, but nothing worked. Erte ran an analysis of the chemicals and tried to come up with a cleanser that wouldn't dissolve Padme's skin off her bones, but so far she wasn't having any luck. Just try the makeup over it, Rabe suggested. Yane went to work, but it was no use. The makeup they used as concealer worked fine on Padme's face, but cracked every time she moved her fingers. Yane tried a lighter application, but it wasn't enough to cover the glitter. It's daylight, Sache protested. How is it still glowing? It's a secret recipe, Erte told her. I had to slice into the manufacturer's database to find the ingredients. Can't go out like this, Yane said. Harley will recognize you immediately. Gloves? Rabe suggested. Not with the representative from Kreeling here, Yanni told her. It's not a rule exactly, but it is a cultural guideline we should follow if they want to maintain our friendliness with Tobruna. There was a whole moment where none of them panicked. It'll have to be Sabe then, Erte said. She's the only one who has ever doubled for you in public, and her voice is the best. There will be quite a bit of speaking today. Sabe looked up from where she was untangling strands of beads on one of the queen's more ridiculous headpieces. What? She said. Erte's right, Padme agreed. You'll have to be the queen today, and I'll watch the proceedings from the Whisper Gallery as a page. If I keep my hands in my sleeves, no one will see. This isn't tricking the guards or taking your place in a parade, Sabe said. This is actual business. What's serious with serious ramifications? Hang on. Isn't spice turned into glitter stem? Yes? Death sticks. I know spice gets turned into death sticks, but I don't know if it gets turned into glitter stem. I'm sorry. I don't have as much knowledge on fantasy rug trading as you might think. And the manufacturer thereof. I'm aware, Padme said. Her voice was a little cold. I knew when we went I knew when we went to the concert there might be some consequences, and here we are. Today, you're the queen. It served as a declaration, and the girls got to work. Padme and Sabe switched seats. The day's gown was quite formal. The rich burgundy was offset by light gray accents, and the headpiece was again the traditional fan shape. Rabe and Yane, who would accompany the queen to the throne room, were in flame orange once more. It was quickly becoming their accepted color, and somehow the vibrancy of the fabric helped them to disappear. Sache helped Padme and Erte into the muted blue and mercifully wide-sleeved robes as they all secured their hoods. Thank goodness for fashion trends, Padme said. Would you believe me if I said I wasn't surprised? Yai asked. Yes, Padme said, and she meant it with her entire soul. I would. Sabe came over while Padme was putting on the makeup that obscured her appearance. I'm sorry, she said. It's not your fault that the lit broke, Padme told her. It's my fault you were there, Sabe said. I make my own choices, Your Highness, Padme said. You know that. Veined overhang. Yeah, Luna, Mindless says it gets turned into a lot of stuff. Yeah, so I don't know. I honestly have just not kept up on the rug manufacturer and distribution and just in general about spice, as one might think. It's just never been a part of anything that I've super cared about. But yeah, slacker. Yeah, but I knew all of Padme's handmaidens and some bonus ones. And now I know their real names. Sabin and Rabin and Sacha and yeah. I don't think it's a glitter stim. It's some sort of like no, because it's some sort of commercial product. Because Erte sliced into their system to find out what's in it. Love you. What is it? Love you? Is that how you do it if you don't have both hands? It's not your fault that the lit broke, Padme told her. It's my fault you were there. I don't know. It sounded like they were talking it through, but Padme had a feeling she only made it worse. There was no time for anything else, though. They all had their places to be. The Whisper Gallery was nearly full. The Legislative Assembly had stopped viewing the summit as a vanity project shortly after the first public transcript was released. Response from the general populace had been favorable, and now the elected officials were curious to see how everything turned out. Padme and the others had seats in the reserve section as pages, which also meant anyone who needed a message run could call on them. 2 hours into closing talks, a representative caught Padme's eye. There was no way she could pass the message to Sache or Erte without raising eyebrows, so she got up and went to see what the message was. Please take this to the kitchen, the representative said. We're leaving earlier than I thought, and I want to make sure the cooks have an accurate count for tonight. For the first time, Padme wondered why they didn't have a mechanized system for this sort of thing. It would not be difficult to send a brief message via comm, and while Padme was perfectly capable of walking it down, she really didn't want to miss the summit. So much of Naboo's government was like that, a set of traditions that work like Republic credits, valuable only because everyone had already agreed that they were worth something. But that meant there were weak points to be exploited and no defense against them. If Padme didn't deliver the message, there would be an incorrect number of chairs at dinner. It wasn't a huge problem, but she was starting to wonder how else the system could be pushed. Padme committed the representative's message to memory and then exited the Whisper Gallery. She would come back as soon as she could. Since she was out of earshot, she was unaware that shortly after she left, Queen Amidala had called a brief recess, and she likewise hadn't seen Harley Jafan quietly excuse herself from the throne room. Yeah, it seems like it's more like a glitter stick. Glow stick, not a glitter stick. A glow stick. But it's like a glow stick that was made of bioluminescent glitter, I guess, is what we're going here. Which sounds funny and I want bioluminescent glitter. That'd be fun. Padme was on her way back from the kitchen when she got caught. There you are, said Harley behind her and much too close. When I didn't see you with the Queen this morning, I thought I was going to miss you entirely. Padme froze. She was wearing her own face, though. Her hood and makeup obscured most of it, and this girl had come the closest of anyone so far to seeing through the Queen's disguise. She had counted the number of handmaidens in the room and realized Sabe wasn't among them. No one would think to look at the Queen, of course, but another robed girl in the palace corridor who had the same height was a logical guess, particularly when the girl had deliberately taught herself to move the same way. Ah! Somebody thinks that Padme is Sabe instead of Sabe being Padme. I had a different job today. Padme spoke as quietly as possible. Rabe said that quiet voices were easier to mistake. The queen's voice had to be loud, so it required the most work. She turned so that she was half facing Harley, but kept her head down and her hood low. I just wanted to tell you that I had an amazing time last night, Harley said. I thought at first hanging out with your friends might spoil the mood, but they were so much fun, too. It was a good concert, Padme said. She had never felt so exposed in her entire life. Are you okay? Harley asked. Did you get in trouble? Captain Panaka is a worrier, Padme admitted. Harley laughed, then reached out and took Padme's elbow. She moved too fast for Padme to dodge and pulled her a little too close. Look, I'm not very good at this, and I know we literally live on different planets, but I like you a lot, Harley said. Padme's heart raced, and not in the way Harley probably intended. I don't know much about Naboo dating culture, but I would like to kiss you before I go. Oh, boy. Oh, no, said Padme. It was reflexive and absolute and cruel. She regretted it immediately, but couldn't think of anything else to do. She pulled away. Oh, said Harley. She sounded surprised. You won't even look at me today? I'm sorry, Padme said. I'm delivering an important message. She fled, leaving Harley standing alone in the corridor and wondering what had just happened. The rest of the summit closing passed without incident, though Harley spoke very little. The Queen presided over a farewell tea directly after the final session, and then each delegate took their formal leave. They would be departing the following morning, but this was to be the last official event. The handmaidens returned to the suite and prepared to spend the evening relaxing after a busy week. The decoy maneuver had, as far as most of them knew, gone without a hitch, and they were all in a mood to celebrate. Sabe didn't get a chance to check her personal comlink or talk privately to the others until late in the evening. Yana had taken care of her undressing, and the others had gone to bed. Sabe could tell that Padme had something she wanted to discuss and assumed it was merely that the Queen wished to evaluate her performance this afternoon. When she finally had a moment to herself, though, Sabe read a note from Harley with confusion that quickly changed into anger when she realized what must have happened. She went into Padme's room. Sache was tucked under the covers, but Padme was still reading. I got the strangest message from Harley Jaffan just now, Sabe said acidly, and frankly, I'm surprised I didn't get a slight heads up from you. Padme stilled. She set the documents down and gave Sabe her full attention. It seems she tried to say goodbye to me this afternoon, Sabe continued. Her rage simmered in her. Ooh, angry teenage girl. Sache was awake but unmoving, and I was very rude. Harley had used much more colorful language. She surprised me, Padme said. Her calm was completely infuriating. Not because of her control, but because Sabe knew she was tailoring her deportment to Sabe's response. She hated being handled. I wasn't expecting to be mistaken for you. It's supposed to work the other way around. Oh, and so you had to be awful about it? You can charm a whole planet into loving you, but you can't take 2 seconds to consider her feelings? Should I have let her kiss me? Padme said, her tone grew heated. Do you think she still would have thought I was you then? Don't you think she might have recognized me from the concert, since I'm still covered in glitter? I don't know, shouted Sabe. She was aware that the others were standing behind her and modulated her tone so that the guards wouldn't come bursting in. I just thought for 1 second you might have been able to think of someone's besides yourself. There was nothing she could have said to hurt Padme more, and she knew it. Oh. I tried, Sabe, Padme said after a horrible silence. I saw that you liked her, and I didn't know what that meant. If I were only your friend, I could just ask you, but I'm your queen, too. I can't order you to tell me about your personal life, can I? I had to trust that you would come to me and tell me what I needed to know, and you didn't. Do you think I would give up secrets? Sabe asked. Do you really think so little of me? No, Padme said. I think the world of you, but it's harder than I thought to be your friend and your ruler all at the same time, and I can't do that if you don't help me. Sabe sat down on the bed. The others came in and joined them, Sache pulling her legs up to make more room on her side. You wanted a normal night, Padme said, and I tried to give it to you. I thought that meant Page Me could come with you, but I think it might be better if we avoided that from now on. I was sad enough that Sache missed the concert, Sabe admitted. If you hadn't come either, it would hardly have been worth it. I thought you wanted to spend more time with Harley, Padme said. I did, Sabe said. She's the first person who's ever liked me for being me, but that doesn't mean I don't want to spend time with all of you outside of this. Didn't want to spend time with all of you, too, outside of this damn room. Well, we probably can't use the library as a way out anymore, Rabe said lightly. I think Panaka might be onto us. Sabe giggled in spite of herself. They hadn't really solved anything, but at least they had identified the problem. That was a place to start. You can go if you want, Padme said. I don't know what you'd say, but you can have a night off. Sabe was grateful for the offer, but it was too late, and Harley had said as much. Harley had said as oh, Harley had as much as said she didn't want to come see her again. No, she said. What's done is done. I am sorry, Padme said. It was all she could do, and it wasn't enough. Sache, would you switch with me tonight? Sabe asked. She half expected her to refuse. It would mean sharing with Yane. Just this once, Sache said quietly. Yane looked down at her hands. Tonight was going to be deeply uncomfortable for everyone, apparently. Thank you, Sabe said. She knew it was important not to fall asleep angry with Padme, however much she might want to. She didn't want to talk about it, but maybe if they were in the same room, everything would work itself out on its own. Maybe we should go to the lake house now that the summit is done, Padme said. It's early in my reign to go on a retreat, but I feel like we've accomplished a lot this week and could use a break. I'll look it up tomorrow, Yane said. She yawned. Mid-afternoon at the earliest. Everyone left and Sabe crawled into the spot Sache had vacated. Did you really want to kiss her? Padme asked. Sabe knew what she was doing and why she was doing it, but she couldn't bring herself to mend the fence. She could do her job, but that was it for now. Not yet, please, she said. I just want to talk about politics. Padme dutifully changed the subject. Everybody still awake? I don't want them to fight. I don't like it when the kids are fighting. There. So this is a bonus chapter. This is another so we've done Rabe and we've done Sabe. So this is Yane, like a little brief story about how Yane was included. Yeah, they're teenagers. Bravery. The loom made her feel better. There were several different mechanized versions to choose from. Looms that did all of the work, and looms that let you maintain some semblance of control. But Suyan liked the manual ones at best. Without a computer to tell her if the tension was right, she had to pay close attention, and she liked the way the world closed in around her as she wove. It shut out the bustle of the market, for starters, and sometimes that level of noise could be aggravating. It was blankets today, simple enough, but Suyan was taking her time. Each one had a different design. They were all headed to the Theed hospital eventually, and there was no reason not to enjoy the process. Suyan loved watching the fabric grow under her fingers as she built it out of yarn, and she never got tired of the ways she could use color to tell whatever story she wanted in the weft. Are these all yours? Someone said. Suyan paused and looked up. She needed her eyes to weave, and she didn't entirely appreciate the interruption. It was late in the day, and she already made several good sales. She wanted to finish the blanket and cut it free before it got dark. I made them, yes, she said. They're for the hospital. They're very nice. The speaker was a tall man with brown skin and square shoulders. What are they made of? It's a yarn I make myself, Suyan told him. I spin it from various components, and the end result is a blanket that is light, warm, and moisture-wicking. If he noticed that she didn't give up any of the particulars, he paid the courtesy of respecting her ownership. Some people tried to get her to reveal the combinations, and though she didn't mind sharing, she wasn't going to give them up to just anyone. Can you make the fabric for other situations? He asked. Waterproof? Or fireproof, maybe? Yes, Suyan said without considering it very long. She was young to be a master weaver, and she didn't have the official designation yet, but it was only a matter of time. She knew the extent of her talents, but I'm not sure how practical that would be in the blanket. Bleh. I'm not sure how practical that would be in a blanket at the hospital. They have other methods of fire suppression. I wasn't talking about just blankets, he said. He was still feeling the fabric, and she could tell by his touch that he didn't actually know the quality of the craft at all. She had no problem with people appreciating things because they were pretty or soft, but his questions didn't link up with his behavior. Can you only make heavy yarn to do what you want? The bulk makes it easier, she admitted, but not everything has to be in the weaved. There are resins that can be used to treat fabrics and still maintain their flexibility, and you could probably do a lot with embroidery if you had the right sort of thread. He considered it for a moment, and she thought he would keep walking. Instead, he returned to the red blanket she had finished that morning, and hung up to make sure the blocking was all right. Do you always work here? He asked, indicating the market in general. Sometimes I work at home, Suyen said. Sorry, he said. I mean, are you always a weaver? No, she said. I have to spin my yarn, as I said, and I also dye it myself most of the time. Is that all you've ever wanted to do? It was an oddly direct question, and Suyen considered her answer before she gave it up. Yes, she said. I'm happy. Would you consider another job if it became available? He asked. Nothing ever has, Suyen said. He looked straight at her, no longer running his hands along the blanket weave. It would be at the palace, he said, and there would be a lot of people. You wouldn't have very much time to yourself, and it might be dangerous, and it's very important. Suyan rested her hands on the top of the loom, letting the shuttles go and taking her feet off the pedals. She realized whoever this man was, he definitely hadn't found her by accident. He hadn't been walking in the market and been attracted by the bright colors of her stall. He had known she would be here. He knew what she did. He had come here to ask her these questions, even though he knew most of the answers already, and he'd done it all on purpose. I'm a weaver, she said. You're an artist, he replied. It was a common designation on Naboo, but the way he gave it more weight than she was used to. You have a very interesting skill set, and I am very interested in seeing you realize its full potential. Weavers don't usually get dangerous jobs, she said. Even dyeing cloth, which had been very hot, heavy work before automation, was relatively safe as long as you didn't do anything stupid. There's another part to it, he admitted. You'd be responsible for the well-being of a high-ranking official, and I would expect you to use all of your skills to protect her. Your royal security, she said, narrowing her eyes at him. Captain Quarsh Panaka, he introduced himself. I am head of the Queen Amidala's guard detail. The thing about weaving blankets for the hospital was that Suyan got the feeling of having done something good without really extending herself. Yes, it was fun to do the work, and yes, she enjoyed coming up with new fabric blends. But the truth was that she mostly did it because it made her comfortable. What Captain Panaka was describing sounded terrifying. Suyan did not have to be told the power of a good weave, a good thread, a good seam. She already knew these things. If anything, she wasn't used to that power being acknowledged. She was less sure that she, Suyan, would be any good at protecting someone. All right, she heard herself say. I'm in. The dressmaker. Chapter 16. Queen Amidala spent the morning on the landing platform, waving decorously at her guests departed. She was accompanied by a single handmaiden and a handful of guards. No one would have guessed it by looking at her, but Padme was exhausted. At least the dress was doing most of the work for her in terms of standing up straight. Panaka was squinting up at the sky, a puzzled expression on his face. Captain, said the Queen, we're getting some unexpected feedback on the outer signal buoys, he said. Who is left? Just Governor Kelma, Sache said. She volunteered to go last because she's the least hyperlag to worry about. I'm going to call her pilot and tell them to get a move on, Panaka said. We're going to have to send some of our own ships to check out on the buoys. As you say, Captain, Padme said. The Carlini ship took off the moment its pre-flight checks were done. The comlink was still open as the ship cleared orbit. Padme heard someone very clearly. What the hell? Was all that was discernible before the ship was out of range, but it was enough to raise Panaka's hackles even further. Hi, Victor! Sache had her comlink out and sent a short message to the others, who were still hopefully in the suite. They addressed Padme in another formal gown this morning, one that would be visible from the ship while she stood on the landing pad. The gown was red with a wide skirt and an elaborate tabard that covered her shoulders and chest. Around the skirt was a ring of luminescent orange and yellow globes. It wasn't exactly a dress to move quickly in, but Padme managed, even on the steps. At the door to the palace, Padme stopped and turned to one of the guards. Would you please find Governor Bibble and ask him to come to the throne room, she asked. Tradition or no, she was going to update the messaging system. Captain Panaka has a report to give. The wording was deceptively light, and Padme could see that the guard understood her immediately. She set off at a trot, and Padme continued toward the throne room. She had a bad feeling. The personal comms in the Queen's suite all went off at the same time, which would have been alarming on its own. 4 miniature versions of Sache appeared on 4 palms, and immediately their attention was riveted. Flame was the only thing she said before she disappeared. It was one of the first codes they had devised.
Rather than have a single word that would call them all to action in case of an emergency, they had a few different ones to help indicate what sort of emergency it was. The color of the robe Sache had been wearing that morning, the ombre orange to yellow in this case, meant that they all needed to appear as handmaidens in the throne room as humanly as possible. Hi, Frank! How was your trip? They didn't bother to braid their hair. Instead, robes were thrown on and pulled straight, and everyone was left to tuck their hair in as best they could. Sabe led the way through the corridors as a fast walk. No one else seemed to be responding, so Amidala still required their discretion. They reached the throne room doors and saw the queen was already sitting with Sache at her side. The rest of them hurried to their places. Governor Bibble, thank you, Amidal was saying as the governor entered from the other side of the room. We know you meant to depart this morning, but Captain Panaka wished you to be present. Of course, your highness. Bibble was too practiced a politician to show his annoyance openly, but he could hardly be blamed for wanting to be elsewhere. He had a long week, too. Your highness, Governor Bibble, Panaka strode into the room, his boots ringing on the marble, and stood in the center floor. Just as Governor Kelma's ship was leaving orbit, our external buoys were buzzed by a small craft of unknown design. We assume they scanned us for planetary defenses, but everyone knows we have none. We do not know. A hollow blurred over him, and he stepped aside to let the image clear. Even though he knew the person wasn't really there, he couldn't help but reaching for his blaster. Your Highness, said the figure, I am Viceroy Newt Gunray of the Trade Federation. I require you to sign a treaty. Viceroy, this is highly unorthodox, Amidala said. We are not in the habit of signing treaties with people we have only just met. Nevertheless, you will sign this one, Gunray said. It is being delivered to you as we speak. Sabe went to the console and nodded. Whatever document the Viceroy meant had appeared on the Queen's database. Her hand hovered over the disconnect switch, but she waited for the signal. We will have it added to our schedule, Amidala said, and contact you in due time when the full consideration has been given. You will sign it, Gunray said, or you will suffer. He disappeared. Your Highness, began Panaka, but Padme held up her hand. Captain, she said, please ready your guards and the rest of the security forces. I know we do not have much in the way of planetary defense, but I will not sit idly by until we have determined what this Viceroy Gunray is after. Governor, she turned to Bibble, I am sorry, but I will need you to stay in the palace for a bit longer. It won't be a real treaty, Bibble said. They expect you to capitulate without a fight. They expect incorrectly, Padme said, but there may be hints in the document as to what their game is. I recommend you and your staff read quickly. I will make arrangements, he said. He stood to go, but Padme raised her hand again to stop him. Governor, who on Naboo is empowered to sign treaties with off-worlders? She asked. I must confess I am unfamiliar with the exact chain of precedence, and I would like that clarified as soon as possible. The Queen is the only person with that power, Bibble told her. And if the Queen is absent or incapacitated, they must wait for her recovery or return. And if the Queen is dead, she didn't flinch. There must be an election, Your Highness, Bibble said, his discomfort obvious in his tone and the way he twisted his hands. It has never happened. Thank you, Governor, Padme said. We will reconvene in 2 hours. The treaty was, in C.O. Bibble's professional opinion, a pile of shack shit. Naboo would be indenturing itself to the Trade Federation's whims and stood to gain absolutely nothing from the arrangement. They couldn't possibly expect the Queen to sign it. They must have some darker purpose. Bibble went through every note he could find about who had signatory power in case of emergency, to see whether his original statement to the Queen had been incorrect. If the Trade Federation sought to install a puppet queen who would be more amenable to their demands, that would be another matter. Everything he found indicated the same thing. He'd been correct. Only the Queen could sign. Nothing short of her death would change that, and even should the worst come to pass, nothing could happen until they had another election. Legally, they were going to be fine. Bibble started to worry about all the less than legal ways that could end poorly as he headed back down to the throne room. I need to contact Senator Palpatine, Padme said. Use his emergency channel if you can find it. If I can find it, muttered Arte. Within seconds, she had a comm set up and ushered Padme into the right place to stand before the holo emitter. Whatever time it was on Coruscant, Palpatine must have been awake because he answered her immediately. Queen Amidala, he said, shimmering blue in front of her. This is an unexpected surprise. I'm afraid I have bad news, Senator, Padme said, and no time for pleasantries. Oh dear, Padme sounded a little bit out of breath. Maybe he'd come running when he heard the emergency channel. Please, go on. Yeah, if he doesn't know. We received a threatening communication from Viceroy Newt Gunray of the Trade Federation, Padme informed him. He demanded that I sign a treaty. I refused, of course, and I will refuse again. We've had time to read it, and he's asking me to sign over the whole planet. I was afraid something like this might happen, Palpatine said, but never in my wildest dreams did I think it would actually would. Your Highness, the Trade Federation is behind a conspiracy in the Senate to shift the tax on trade routes, and Naboo is right in the middle of their proposed operation. We kept hearing all the bills had failed, Padme said. They have, Palpatine said. It looks like the Trade Federation is taking a more extreme approach. Captain Panaka and the other officers are taking what measures they can, Padme said. For now, there is nothing we can do but wait. I wanted to inform you in case you had any suggestions. I will take it to the Chancellor, Palpatine said. It's always best to go straight to the top. Thank you, Senator, Padme said. Now I'm afraid I must go. Be safe, Your Highness, Palpatine said. You are far too important to lose. Rabe cut the connection. It's time to go back to the throne room, she said. Are all of you all right? Padme asked before they set out again. I know these past few days have been a lot. We're fine, Sabe answered for everyone. It was more or less the truth. The door to the sitting room burst open, and they all jumped. Your Highness, Panaka said, the Trade Federation is here, in orbit. They've blockaded the planet. Darth Sidious looked at the hologram of Naboo that hovered over his desk, and it was a beautiful world. As if he doesn't know he's from there! Clear waters and green trees, yellow stone and blue skies. People who wanted nothing from life other than to make pretty things that made other people happy. He wanted to make sure its legacy was never forgotten. And now he had the means. Orbiting the planet in a perfect circle were dozens of ring-shaped blockade ships. Each was heavily armed and even more heavily shielded, and all of them were packed with droids. He'd been pleasantly surprised by the ingenuity the Geonosians of engineers had done in designing the invasion force. There were droids for every rank and every task, just like in a regular army. They would be able to overwhelm the Naboo completely, and they might not even damage the planet at all. Not at first, anyway. Sidious preferred the complete destruction, but desecration would do in a pinch. The hologram glowed, and he reached out to put a fingertip to where Theed would be, as if he could crush it. The other console, the one in his public office, chimed loudly enough that he could hear it right through the closed door. It was probably Chancellor Valoran. Right on schedule. Thus ends our reading for tonight. Just as the Trade Federation gets there. Oh, and we're like a chapter away from the contents of the movie. I just got to I'm looking at chapter 18, and I'm like, oh, I recognize that line from the film. Okay, so there we go. There's a part of me that wants to like whip out my Phantom Menace copy and like line it up. And like we'll just switch back and forth. So we'll like get caught up on the Phantom Menace book to write this part, which won't take that very long. It's like 2 chapters probably. And then we'll just start reading them like together. That would actually be kind of funny. Yeah. And so the movie begins in like 1 chapter because there's a line from the film. So it's like I know that one because I sort of have that. We are brave, Your Highness. I don't sound anything like Natalie Portman, but don't be surprised if I start using her tone and pitch because I've seen the movie a few times. I can get So the only problem with this book is it's short. Like the chapters are really short. A few times. Yeah, I've only seen it a few times. It's funny, Luna and Mindless, you guys both said the same thing. Am I really that predictable? Have I seen it a few times? I couldn't tell you how many times I've seen The Phantom Menace. Where are you going next, Frank? Yes, but in a good way. Also, I was going to say, how was Club 33? Is it beautiful? I dream about that. One day.
Also, I've gotten after the when he defeats the first boss in Dungeon Crawler Carl. I really like this book. I like the Star Wars book that we're currently reading, but I really like Dungeon Crawler Carl too. Like it's so much fun. No, 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 the Hoarder, the neighborhood boss. But I decided to like Google Translate what the Hoarder said in Spanish. And I have to say that that is absolutely heartbreaking what she says. Why would you write that? It's it it made me feel so sad. Just wrapped up the most recent Dungeon Crawler Carl book. Nice. I'm only on the first one. Um, I'm thinking maybe after I do Dungeon Crawler Carl, I might. I'm after I read the first Dungeon Crawler Carl book, I'm gonna retry Akatar. I hated it the first time. I hated like I couldn't get into it the first time I tried to write it. Um, read it, not write it. Read it. Um, and it was. Mm-mm. I did not. It was boring. It was so boring. Take me with you. I say you just pick me up at the train station in Florida. I'll go to Disney World with you. Actually, when is that? No, I will be I'll be in Orlando the third weekend in September. Did he lock? Yes, he unlocked the mass murder. I think it was the mass murder. It's the one where he throws dynamite into the room and it kills most of the mobs. Um, yeah, I'm going to Orlando in September for Minnie Mando's birthday trip. So we're gonna go to we're going to Halloween Horror Nights. Yeah, the medicine is definitely starting to fry my brain. Mm. Have fun in Pittsburgh. Wish I could go to Pittsburgh. I leave on Sunday to go and run a summer camp for a week with teenagers. Hence the reason I take the calm down medicine tonight. Oh, you're doing Run Disney. Nice. Your med fries next Friday. I'm looking forward to next Saturday. I have a haircut. Um, oh, I have a haircut next Saturday, but I because I'm coming up because I know I'm gonna be after next week is gonna be super stressful. Um, I am going to get also like the head spa. I can get like a add on to my haircut for like $30, and they'll do like a really nice head massage. So we're gonna do that. You did not tell. I think you did. Maybe you did. I don't know. This is not the night to ask me. You're in the hospital, Frank? Ah, that makes me sad to hear. Are you okay? Did you visit? How was Minnesota? Was it nice? Oh, okay. Total knee. Ow. That's rough, man. I do not envy you. I probably will one day have to get one as well, but still, I do not envy you. Ooh, man, that's rough. Do you have to? Do you get the scooter? Do you get the scooter for that? Is that why you're doing Run Disney? Are you doing Run Disney so that you can be because you'll be healed up from the knee replacement? Ooh, that does not sound fun, Luna. Oh no. You didn't get that you didn't get the parasite, did you? I was watching Under the Desk News today and apparently there's some sort of like parasite in the Midwest causing stomach issues. Like, I is sounds awful. I hope you're able to do the run too. My dad is trying to do the full marathon at Walt Disney World. Yeah, that one on me. It's bad. Like okay. Hopefully you don't get the explosive diarrhea one. That sounds awful. If you're out there and you have that, I hope you get better soon. I don't want to know what's going on in your life though. He wants to do the Walt Disney World marathon. He wants to do the true marathon race weekend. Cuz he will be 75 this year, and my dad wanted to do the full Walt Disney World marathon when he's 75. It might have to be when he's 76 though. You barely want to know what's going on in your life. Oh, come on. You make content on the internet. Everybody's interested in what your life is doing. No, the Walt Disney World Marathon, like the Disney World Marathon is in January. But really honestly, does it matter? I mean, it only gets hotter in Florida. It doesn't really get like super cool. Yeah, I know. I tried to get him a race bib for 2027. So we'll have to try for 2028. Um, I I I want to see my dad do it. Um, Not just because I want a fun free trip to Disney World. Oh, that's definitely a perk. Yeah. Uh, when you go to register for 2028, can you give me a call? And if you could use your ways to get my 75, at that point, he'll be 76-year-old father a race bib, that would be really great. If it helps, he's a Vietnam veteran and is a nerd like me. I don't know how any other ways to make my dad sound even. He's an orphan. My dad is an orphan. I mean, most people his age are orphans. It would be weird if their parents were still alive. Um, he's been married to my mom since 1979. I don't know. what could I say to convince you? Yeah, I know. I don't know when the date. I'll have to look and see when they're gonna sell the ticket for that one. So mindless, you're not a cute girl, so less so. I don't know what that has to do with it. There are lots of content creators on the internet that are not cute girls that I follow that I love. You know, I mean, look at Angry Mulan Man. Angry Mulan Man, he has lots of followers. He's not a cute girl, although he does make a very pretty girl. Wiki Wachi Springs. I don't know what that is. I have never been to Minnesota. I've been to Wisconsin. I've been to Wisconsin. I briefly was in Indiana, Illinois, and West Virginia. Oh, I want to do the pirate one. I want to do the pirate show. That one looks fun. I see them all over TikTok. All right. He makes a more cute girl than you. Okay. I'm gonna fall asleep soon, so I am gonna go to bed. I hope you guys all have a good night tonight. I will be on tomorrow. Because Friday, hopefully, we have D&D. I know I say that all the time, and it gets canceled all the time, but hopefully on Friday we have D&D. That would be really great.
Right, mindless? I really want to play D&D, and I am sad when I can't play. So, go to bed, chat later. I will see you guys all tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I hope you all have a good night, and we'll get through this. It's fine. So we twist his ankles. Can we somehow twist his ankles just a little bit more? I would very much like to play D&D. I miss you guys. You're like the only like non-religious sponsored uh conversations I get to have anymore on TikTok. But still